This is Bloomberg West. I'm Emily Chang. It turns red and blue and could make your home green all over. Developed by the same people who masterminded the iPod and the iPhone, a new Silicon Valley startup, Nest Labs, hopes to make a high-tech thermostat just as popular. They plan to do it by making you excited about your heating system.
Make it engaging. Make it sexy.
A sexy thermostat? Really? How's that even possible? But former Apple executives who designed the iPod think they've done it.
There's over 150 million residential thermostats in the United States. They sell about 10 million a year despite having no innovation. The products are ugly. Surely we could do a lot better. We want to take our iPod experience and really apply it to the space.
Why discard your old beige box in exchange for Nest Labs' $249 version? Consider this. According to the EPA, half of the energy you use at home is controlled by your thermostat. Most people never program theirs to turn off while they're away. Nest says having their device could save 20% on your average energy bill. It tracks your behavior and then programs itself.
It's a little chilly. You turn it up a little bit. Before you leave in the morning to go to work, you turn it down a little bit. Over 3 or 4 days, we'll learn your pattern.
Turn the heat up, the face turns red. Turn it down to cool, blue. Make an energy savings adjustment and a little green leaf appears on the face. A simple interactive solution to control temperature.
We had to make the Nest Learning thermostat amazingly beautiful. Why? It's something that you hang on your wall.
With materials like brushed stainless steel that reflects the colors of the room, Nest thinks they've taken the ugly out of thermostats. One problem they haven't quite solved, temperature tussles between husbands and wives.
We can't solve marital fighting, but we can actually tell you when somebody is changing the temperature very rapidly.
All right, and we are now joined by Nest Labs founder Tony Fadell here in the studio. My husband and I always fight about the temperature, so I do hope you figure that out. But I'm also always cold, so I am very excited about this. You know, you oversaw 18 generations of the iPod, 3 generations of the iPhone. Why do you want to work on a thermostat?
Because someone had to do it. Someone has to actually create a product that is actually really difficult to build, to make it so simple, and it means so much for our energy usage in the home. 50% of the energy is controlled by a thermostat. That's over $1,000 a year.
How are you applying what you learned at Apple Design Genius, to this product?
So really what we learned is make sure every part of the experience, from the marketing, from the packaging, to the installation, to usability, make sure we look at every one of those details and make sure we delight the customer. Learn a lot of that at Apple.
You left Apple in 2009 at the top of its game. I mean, why leave Apple to work on something like this? I mean, obviously you feel really passionate about it, but you know, Apple is Apple.
Apple's a wonderful company, and we had a great time. My wife and I both worked at Apple for 9 years, and we had a 1- and a 2-year-old, and we asked Steve, we said, we really want to spend time with our family, and he said, go for it, do it.
You were really close with Steve. I mean, personally, what did you learn from him?
Well, you know, there are very, very personal stories of Steve, but the most part of Steve was always be courageous, make it happen, think differently, and challenge yourself at every turn. And so, you know, I always think back of what would Steve do when we're building this business, and a thermostat. That's why we're doing it, because no one else would.
A few years ago, Fortune actually came out with a list of people who could replace Steve Jobs. Tim Cook was #1, and you were #2.
Tim Cook is still #1. He will be #1. I think the world of Tim, and he's going to do a tremendous job leading Apple into the future.
You know, we're hearing a lot about these rumblings about Apple TV. What do you expect to be next? You know, can Apple really conquer the television?
I think Apple, wherever it sets its mind to, whatever category it takes on, it's going to be successful at. So if it does take on the TV, I can't wait to buy one.
So the iPod just celebrated its 10-year anniversary. Yes. Obviously, you know, if Apple TV is indeed next, it has a high bar to live up to. What does Apple have to do right to get the products right going forward?
Well, I think that what it's always done, focus, 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 look at the details, keep it incredibly simple, keep it incredibly beautiful. The team is there that created those products over the last 15 years. It's still there. They know how to do their job. They were ingrained, trained by Steve, and they're going to just continue to do the same things they have been.
Now, the iPod was the first in what ended up becoming a line of simple the iPod, the iPhone, the iPad. For you, is the thermostat just first? Is there going to be something else?
We didn't have a grandmaster plan at Apple to create the iPhone until after the iPod was successful. We want to make sure that the Nest Learning Thermostat is successful first, but we have visions of the future. But when the future comes, we'll materialize those visions.
You've assembled quite a team. It's not just you, but other iPhone people who worked on the iPhone, people from Google, people from Twitter. How do you convince those kinds of people to work for a startup like Next?
Well, they're all at the height of their career. They're in their dream jobs already. But when they can actually take their experiences and their talent and move it to a different space, something that might have impact for their future generations, they were like, how can I not do this? They wanted to join the team. We are over 100 people already, and they love it. I can't say it. And we were actually at a party the other night for a thermostat. Can you believe that? A party for a thermostat.
I can't believe that. It better be cool. $249. I mean, how do you convince people to pay for that?
Well, right now we're having overwhelming demand for our devices in just 72 hours. So we're already trying to ramp up the factories around the world to meet the demand. So far, so good. But if you really think about the price point, think about the heating and cooling system. It's typically 15 to 20 years life cycle. You spend a lot of money on that system as well as the energy that's consumed by that system. To add an extra $50 or $100 to investment, we think that's well worth it if you're going to save even 10% of your energy cost.
All right, well, we'll be watching you guys. Tony Fadell of Nest Labs, thanks so much for joining us here.
Thank you.
On Bloomberg West.